So I have to say, this is an excellent book. I would highly recommend it. I'm becoming a very big Bradbury fan, and this was definitely a winner. It's October, which means it's spooky season. And to honor that, I decided for all of October, I'm going to read nothing but horror, thrillers, and tales of the macabre and supernatural. I've got three books picked out, and I'm excited to read them. Is also the narrator, so we get to see the world through her twisted eyes. And by day, Maeve works at the happiest place in the world as every child's favorite ice princess. By the neon glow of the Sunset Strip, Maeve haunts the dive bars with a drink in one hand and a book in the other, imitating her misanthropic literary heroes. But when Gideon Green, her best friend's brother, moves to town, he awakens something dangerous within her, and the world she knows suddenly shifts beneath her feet. It also takes place in October, so I thought it was quite fitting. And let's get this read on going. Right, so it's been a couple of days and I finished it. It was a pretty fast read. I mean, it is only like 271 pages. So I got through it pretty quickly. The writing was very fast paced and the chapters were short, so it was like just easy to fly through. And yeah, this interesting book. Um, it is unsettling being inside the head of this very depraved um, woman who definitely takes glory in the destruction of others' lives, whether she's just manipulating them and destroying them, like spiritually, emotionally, or physically, whatever kind of suits her at the moment. Um, yeah, it was a very interesting book. Maeve is one heck of a narrator, that's for sure. Being inside her head for the story was very interesting to see life through her lens is was very unique and unsettling. You know, she was very like a high level of intelligence, very like philosophical in a lot of ways, but just through a very more gruesome, twisted kind of lens than what you or I might have. So it was kind of a cool perspective to read a horror through. You get to see and feel what they're feeling instead of being the victim. You are the one perpetrating it, and so it definitely is a unique perspective from that perspective. And so you get to enjoy her reveling in the thrill of the hunt. And yeah, it's got a good level of gore. We'll say it's like it's not too over the top. It's just enough to like gross you out and be like, oh, it's nice. It's got a good balance of like the horror side and like this psychological and philosophical side of this character development, and very interesting. And through it all too, there's also a love story. So that I kind of wasn't totally expecting it. So that was an interesting little detail, and there are some very rather, I don't know if I want to call them spicy or very can I say erotic on this channel. They are some very kind of they're certainly not romantic. Well, I guess to them in some ways it was quite romantic, though I would not particularly call it very romantic. Well, even outside of the romance, there are quite a few scenes where things get a little spicy. Um, Now, these are not very romantic, spicy scenes. I guess one kind of is. Some of them, though, are most of them are a little uncomfortable and disturbing. So, forewarned, if you do not like those kinds of scenes, you may not like it because you can't really skip them either. There's very much a lot of like character kind of development and stuff that goes along with it. So if you try to skip over it, you're going to end up going, what happened? Like you'll miss stuff. So unfortunately, you do have to read through it. So warning, if you read that, that's what you will face. So, but to be fair, they were not badly written. They were written well. I have to say the writing was actually really good in this book. I was quite impressed. It was better than I thought it was going to be. So I think it was a really good start to my spookathon. Because yeah, I did have some fun with it, as gruesome and disturbing as it was at times. Having a serial killer for your main character, and kind of a funny juxtaposition is that she was also a Disney princess. So it was, yeah, you got your best of both worlds all wrapped in one pretty package. So it was a good book. Rating wise, I think, that's maybe like a 3.75. I think would be fair. 3.75. I think it's pretty good. Maybe even a 4. Like the writing was actually pretty good, and the more I think about it, the more I did enjoy this book. So yeah, it was cool. If you like kind of something creepy and you want something a little different, yeah, Mayfly, I recommend. It was good. So book one done. All right, so for my next book, I chose the Book of the Supernatural, and this is a collection of 20 Tales of the Macabre chosen by H.P. Lovecraft himself. So some classic horror tales, and I think it's a variety of like different supernatural, psychological kind of stories. So I think this should be fun, and yeah, let's get reading. All right, I am overdue for a check in with you guys. So it's been like 2 weeks since I last checked in, and I had started H.P. Lovecraft's Book of the Supernatural. And that was about 2 weeks ago. And I've only made it that far because I kind of got a little distracted. So these are short stories, so like it's easy to just put this down and then pick something else up, which I kind of did because I forgot I had this like on hold from the library, and it came in, and I'm like, well, it's a library book, so I have to read it. And that was the Final Girl support group. So this is a tribute to like the classic 80s and 90s slasher movies. It is all the girls, that one girl that survives at the end of it, defeats the bad guy in the end, saves the day for herself anyways, but lives on with the trauma. And so it's like, well, what happened afterwards? Well, they have a support group. And one day, one of their members does not show up. And so ensues a series of events that basically enter them back into another game around with another murderous, ooh, can I say that? Another villain on the loose, taking them off one by one. The narrator, it's told first person through one of the survivors, Lynette, and she's a little bit annoying. I mean, I get it. She's gone through a lot, and she now has like super anxiety and is incredibly paranoid, and like the way she like lives her life is totally crazy, but understandable when you have gone through what she did. But being in her head and like hearing it all, it was a little bit grating at times. Overall, though, it was a decent story. I think it would make a wicked movie. Actually, no, it's not a very deep kind of book. It is more just like kind of get your heart racing, get into the action sort of thing. And I mean, it was pretty good for what it is. I would give it like about 3.5 stars. If it was all right, it was fun. So yeah, I kind of got interrupted with that book. It came in, and then I was like, all right, go back to our book of the supernatural. But then, oh, another book came in. Now, this one I did not think I was actually going to get in time, so I'm really excited it came in because I put this on hold like, I don't know, like a month and a half, 2 months ago, and okay, just knocked over a glass of water. Oops. Anyways, okay, where were we? So I had this book come in. I was not expecting it. I had put it on hold almost 2 months ago, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll get it in time. And it came. So I'm not DNFing the book. I will finish reading it, but I really, really want to read. That's right. Something Wicked This Way Comes. This is like a classic that I have never read. It's been on my like TBR wish list for a long time, and it was like, hey, it is time. I'm almost through that. It is time to read this book. I quite enjoy Ray Bradbury, so I'm excited to read this. And yeah, let's go read. By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. And something wicked certainly did come to Greentown, Illinois, late one October evening. At first, much of the delight of Jim Nightshade and Will Hellaway, they could hear floating along the wind the sounds of a calliope approaching the town. Filled with excitement and curiosity, they raced off outside of town to where the tracks were, and there they watched a carnival begin to take shape along the field. There was something dark and sinister that they couldn't quite put their finger on, so they left with a very unsettled feeling in their guts. But the excitement of a carnival soon pushed those worries away. Until strange occurrences began around town, people started going missing. There was strange children they had never seen before with eyes that seemed far too old for the face that they were set in. So this feeling of just uneasiness continued to grow and grow as they discovered the secrets that were hid beneath those canvas tents. Their fears were soon realized as the leaders of this carnival, one in particular, Mr. Dark, the tall, illustrated man with eyes tattooed on his fingers, took an interest in these boys and was trying to lure them into the carnival. But Jim and Will both knew that this man was dangerous and their lives were in danger if they were to follow along. And so they tried to avoid the carnival and Eventually, Will's father ends up aiding them as they face off against the big dark baddies within this carnival. It is definitely a slow burn kind of story. Bradbury really takes his time to tell it. The prose is filled with this dark imagery and beautiful metaphors that just create this dark atmosphere and creates a feeling of like dread that just slowly creeps in on all sides as the story unfolds. And it was such a beautiful story. I really enjoyed this one. It wasn't exactly scary per se, but it was very, how do I want to say this? But it had this just spooky kind of feel to it. It's very different from the other two stories that I've read, which was The Veldt and Fahrenheit 451. Both were very more standard prose that you would expect out of a book of fiction, whereas this one is very much a poem, an epic poem of grand scale, because they really take their time to set the scene and really feel each word, and just the imagery that was created within these pages was just fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I would say out of the 3 stories that I've read by Bradbury, this one is definitely my favorite from him. There was something so elegant about it in this kind of dark, creepy way, and I just, this was a good one. I really enjoyed this. I liked it more than I thought I was going to. It was not exactly what I was expecting either, though I didn't really know what to expect. But it was a really well-written story. I thought the characters were great. Jim and Will were so well written. They were very believable characters. And a couple of 12-year-old boys sneaking around all the time with crazy ideas and antics, and they made for really good, strong protagonists, and I really enjoyed both of them. And there was also the addition of Will's father, Charles Halloway, who ends up playing a fairly big role within the story, and I really liked his character. It starts out, he seems like just a shadow of a man in some ways. You hardly get any attention paid onto him, but we keep coming back to him throughout the story, and by the end, he's taken on such a larger role, and he's become such a bigger character, and we really get to see him break out of his shell from just this shadow in the library to being someone of significance. And I just thought that was really well done. So I have to say, this is an excellent book. I would highly recommend it. I'm becoming a very big Bradbury fan, and this was definitely a winner. So yes, Ray Bradbury knocked it out of the park with this. I would probably reread this. This has just become my favorite fall read, I think. Should be read every October. So how to rate this? Definitely I would say this was my favorite out of the books I read this month. It was just so beautiful. I'm not usually a big poetry person, but I like dark poetry like this. This was beautiful and elegant, and yeah, this was good. I enjoyed this. I didn't get as much reading done as I had wanted. The month just went by so fast that it was just poof, gone. I thought I was going to get through more of my books, but apparently not. This one especially, which is funny because this was the first book I picked to read for October. I never finished it. I didn't even get halfway. It just didn't grab me. I don't know. I just couldn't really get into it, and I just kind of kept picking up other things. But, you know, that happens. It's okay. But that brings us to the end of this video, and I had a lot of fun filming this one. It was cool getting to read, getting into the mood and reading for the month and for Halloween. I think I'm going to do this again because I really enjoyed it. It was fun. And I hope you enjoyed it as well. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what you thought about them, and what I might read for next year. But that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!